Problem 4. There are 20 identical cubes in a container. Every time Anna takes cubes from the container, she can either take 1, 2, 3, or 4 at once, but has to make sure that the number of cubes left over in the container after each take is not a multiple of 3 or 4. How many different ways can you take cubes from the container until you have 0 left? Pause the video to think about this by yourself, and be sure to share any solutions that differ from ours in this video in the comments down below. I would love to hear your ways of thinking and how you would solve this problem. Alright, so here is our solution for this problem. Out of 20, from 20 to 0, there can be 20 cubes left over, 19 cubes left over, 18 cubes left over, 17 cubes left over, 16 cubes left over, 15 cubes left over, 14 cubes left over, 13, so on. So here, all I'm doing is writing down each of the different values that can remain, right? Because there's 20 identical cubes in all. So I have to write them down from 20 to 0. All right. So can there be 20 cubes left over? Well, that could be it, because so there's one possibility of that. I'll write 1 in bold beneath that to show that there's one possibility of there being 20 left over. Right, if you haven't taken any cubes, then you can have 20 left over. 19 is also possible, because if your first take is 1 cube, subtract 1 from 20, and then you get 19. So this is also possible, and there's one way of getting to it, so that I also wrote a 1 underneath there. But why is 18 impossible? Well, 18 is impossible. I'll write 0. Because in order to get 18, you have to take 2 away. But the following cannot be a multiple of 3 or 4, and 18 is a multiple of 3, so that's why it has to be eliminated. So because 18 is an example of this, we are going to have to eliminate all the other multiples of 3 here as well. That includes 15, 12, 9, the next one is 6, 3. And we'll leave 0 out because, it is possible for 0 to get it with other combinations. Now, 17. All right, 0 is our goal. We're trying to get 0 left. Now, 17. 17 is possible in one way. Actually, in 2 ways. Because if you have 20 left over, you can take 3 away from that and you get 17. So that's one way. You can also end up with 19 and then take 2 more left. So there is 2 ways to get to 17. Now over here also did 4. So I'm just going to, for example, 16. 16 also has no way of getting it because 16 is a multiple of 4. So all of these other multiples of 4 will have to go as well. So this is a multiple of 4. Anywhere else? All right. Okay. Now moving on to 14. So 14 you cannot get from 19, right? Because 19 you have to take away 5 in order to get to 14, and that's just impossible because you cannot get 5 at once. But you can do it from 17, right? Because 17 take away 3 and you get to 14. So 14 actually has 2. Why? Well, because 17 itself has 2. So 17 can be 19 to 17 to 14, or it can be 20 to 17 to 14. So that's why 14 has these 2 options. Now with the same thinking for the rest of these numbers, we could just quickly fill this out. So 13, we could get it from 14, but we cannot, and we can also get it from 17, right? Because we can go 17 to 13 if you subtract 4, 14 to 13 if you subtract 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, so 13 will have four possibilities of um, getting there. Now what about 11? Well, the same thinking applies to the rest of these numbers. Then 11 can be reached from 13 and from 14 as well, but not from 16 because those two are too far apart. So 13 will have four possibilities, and 11 will have six because 2 plus 4 is 6. Now 10. 10 will actually have 12 because you can reach 10 from subtracting 4 from 14. You could do it from subtracting 3 from 13 or subtracting 1 from 11. So you would add 2 and 4 and 6 up, which is 12. Now you're starting to get the hang of it, so feel free to pause the video and go to the rest by yourself. Now 8, 9 both skip, 7. Well, 7 has 18 possibilities because you could get it from subtracting 4 from 11 or from subtracting 3 from 10. So 6 and 12 here are each of the possibilities for 11 and 10. Add those together. For 7, you have 18. Now 5 is also 18 because you can only take 1, 2, 3, or 4 cubes at once. If you were to take 4 cubes and get to 5, you would have to start with 9. But there's no possibility of getting to 9 at all. Neither does 8 or 6. The only possible way to get to 5 is to subtract 2 from 7. So that would be 18. So 18 just passes on to 5, and 5 is also 18. Now our last three. Well, 2. You could get 2 from subtracting 3 from 5. So you could have 18. Right, you can't get 2 from 7 because that would be subtract 5. And you can only take 1, 2, 3, 4 maximum at once. And now 1. So 1 could take so you could get 1 from subtracting 4 from 5, or so that's one possibility. Or the second possibility is if you subtract 1 from 2. So 18 plus 18 is 36. So the possibility for getting for 1 is 36 times. And now for 0, well, you have 18 plus 36, right? You could get it from subtracting 2 from 2, subtracting 1 from 1. 18 plus 36 is 54. Your final answer would be 54 different ways.